One, two, one, two, one, two.
Check this out, check this out.
This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.
Power. Hold on. My throat's a little dry. I podcasted yesterday. I did a really good one. And you'll see that in a few weeks with Billy Martin from Good Charlotte. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. But yeah, so I did that, and then I had a Zoom meeting with another rapper on this project I'm doing that I'm so fucking amped on. But this brings me to what I want to talk about today. The law of attraction. And this is a new concept for me. The idea that you shouldn't chase something, that you should attract it. That's a hard concept. That's an abstract thought. And you got to have some faith in things for that to work out, but it works. We talked about manifesting. Boom, idea pops in my head. I'm going to manifest that shit. And I'm going to attract it to me. I think they go hand in hand. And I haven't quite figured out how this works all the way, but I'm starting to. And it's, it was a year and a half ago. I was taking inventory. Hold on, lighting. Oh, there you go. I was taking inventory on myself, my art and my career, and I wasn't happy with where a lot of it was, and personally I wasn't happy where I was mentally, and I wanted to change and fix things, so I put that into motion, and I had this idea. I think I've talked about it. I wanted to use my art to work with artists I was a fan of on collaborations. When I say artists I was a fan of, I don't mean visual. It was like rappers and hip-hop, and I wanted to create this. I didn't know what it was. I think my abstract thought was, me and my buddy Juan Doe, I want to do for hip-hop what the Neptunes did for the sound of hip-hop. I want to come in and do that for the visuals of it, and that hasn't really been explored deeply yet, so I wanted to do that. And I talked to my buddy Juan Doe, and we were like, all right, we're going to do it. And a couple of small projects started coming my way. People reached out to me on Facebook, wanted a mixtape cover, wanted this, wanted that, and these are like really like small time, like just getting started or getting their name out there. And or just where I was trying to, been out there for a little bit and trying to make more of a name. And then shortly after, can't say too much, but the Pharcyde reached out to me, which is how I'm here now, and they wanted to do something. And around that same time, Run the Jewels did the same thing, and I did some work for them, but I've become kind of friendly with Killer Mike too, so he called me and said he had a much bigger, more in-depth project he wanted me to be involved with, and it was like the same time as the Pharcyde called. This is right before COVID hit. So I had this idea, and I didn't see it clearly, but I knew what I wanted. I was just open to letting it be whatever it's going to be. It's another thing, letting go of control. Trying to fully understand something before you sit down to do it or go after it. It's a way to stop yourself. It's a way to prevent yourself from doing things. it's not perfect. I haven't perfectly formed it in my head, so I can't do it yet. And it's almost a is it fear-based? Is it a way you can self-sabotage or prevent something from happening? I don't know. But, and I don't even know. These projects, we're deep into one of them and starting the other one. And we're figuring it out as we go, which has been amazing to build something with these artists I love. And not just to be hired to do something for them, but to build something with them. That's dope. I've enjoyed that quite a bit. So more and more stuff involving me and hip hop and my art and my buddy Wando, and hopefully, not hopefully, we're gonna build and grow and pull in other artists too. And this podcast is part of it. I mean, I've had a couple rappers on so far, and I'm gonna have more on, and more comic artists and tattoo artists, just art and hip hop, just this world. I mean, when I grew up, hip hop was three elements. It was breakdancing, it was music, and it was art in graffiti form. And it's bigger than that. It's now culture and life, and it's just awesome. I love it. The energy of it. It's greatness. So lately I'm really trying to focus on this idea of attracting and not chasing. I noticed I opened my commission list, and I still had this mentality like, please hire me to do one, and that's chasing it. And who wants to buy art from someone who's asking you to please buy art? It's not a good energy. There's a desperation to it. It comes from an honest place of, yeah, I do want to sell art because I do want to live this way, and I do need to pay for things, but I think if you just have the idea, like, it creates some really fucking cool shit. If you'd like to have a piece, hit me up. And not worry about it. Not focus on, did I get one? Did I get one? I opened it earlier this week. I haven't even checked in to see if my list is full, if anyone's come in. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's the other thing. Make plans. Just, all right, open my commission list. Boom. I'm going to start making plans for the next thing. If the commission list doesn't happen, I'm going to move that next thing closer to me and fill the time I put aside for commissions to do that. Just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward, and that'll just attract shit. Is that advice? I don't know. It's just something to think about, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm thinking, and I'm putting my thoughts out here for you, and maybe you're thinking on it. We're all in this craziness together, so let's just do it. So that brings me to today. Well, welcome to the Inkpulp podcast. I didn't say that yet. I'm your host, Sean Crystal, which some of you know, and maybe I've got some new viewers out there. I am growing. Podcast is steadily growing, and there are new viewers. Hit me up, like, just found this, love it, blah, blah, blah. So subscribe on YouTube. Like, leave me comments. I love hearing that, and I always respond back to you. Follow me on all social media at Inkpulp, INKPULP. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page, TikTok, still trying to get a handle on that one. And YouTube. And now my YouTube address is youtube.com/Inkpulp. Got that finally. That's baller. So yeah, welcome to this episode. Today we're inking again. There's just something about, I mean, I know I've talked about it before. I love traditional comic book inking. I love what people are doing with it today. I'm launching an entire business that will be initially focused on the art of comic book inking, ink pulp instruction, coming very soon. The first video, my video, up on Indiegogo. And you can download it, get a downloadable version for a certain amount of money. And I think I'm going to offer a physical copy on a flash drive with an Inkpulp logo on it. That'd be kind of dope. So I'm working all that out now. Anyways, keep your eyes peeled for that. If you have any interest or love for traditional comic book inking and learning how to do it from people like me, And man, I've got a lot lined up. Tommy Lee Edwards, Jim Mahfood, Eric Canetti, and more. There's more coming. More and more and more coming. So yeah, keep your eye out on that. So today we're inking again. It's a celebration of that art form, and also inking someone else. It's just pure joy. It's just fun. There's no pressure on it. Yeah, it's just the art of inking. Not creating a unique composition, not creating a piece from scratch, and all of us inking the same artist and talking about how we're approaching it. It's been a lot of fun, and I know a lot of viewers have enjoyed it, and I think it's been pretty educational as well, which is another goal of mine, to educate, because I've always been an educator, and I think it's something I got in me that I'm good at too. So today we're inking Mike Mignola again, third time. It never gets old. No one draws like him. He creates such interesting shapes. They're so sculptural. There's a lot to do with it. So today I got my buddy Jim Mahfood again working out with me on here, and we're joined by Jason Shawn Alexander, another fantastic, amazing comic book artist who I met through Jim. They became friendly, and Jason's another guy who thinks along the lines of energies and universe shit. So there's some cool vibes going down on this one. So I guess that's about it. Let's sit back and enjoy this one. Please, I know I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Like. No, let's back up. Comment. No, back up again. Subscribe. Like. Comment. See how fucked up my hand is? That's a claw. That's not a hand. That's what my number 3 on this hand looks like. That's what it looks like on the hand. This is what drawing does to you in your 40s. What the fuck is it? Now, I can straighten it out and do it. Maybe not. There. Yeah, that's probably not good, is it? Oh, shit. I can go obsess and worry about that. Fuck it. Enjoy. Peace. Alright, so Jason, you, sativa is your work drug, work weed?
Yes.
So
It replaced a lot of unhealthy, prescribed stimulants.
yeah, I can imagine. I find it great. Do you have certain strains you prefer?
I did until I kind of started buying it on the regular, and then I realized, all these dispensaries don't really keep the same strains very long. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, oftentimes it's a crapshoot, and so I'll just kind of pick up a couple of eighths of one strain, and that'll keep me for a while.
So you prefer the flower to, say, the cartridge?
Yes.
And
Jason, that's the same problem I've had out here. Is like I'll find something I like, and then I go back and they don't have it again.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like,
obnoxious.
oh well, why you guys are like teasing me? Why?
Well, I mean, let's think about it for a second, guys. This is a crop, so I mean, it's seasonal, right? Or I guess if you're growing it indoors, it's not seasonal. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, but no, I feel what you're saying.
But yeah, but I do find, like I was saying to Jim, I've been smoking Girl Scout Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies lately during the day, and that is just a beautiful thing. But
you should just try smoking weed instead.
Meow meow meow. But I think Jack Herrera is pretty easy to find anywhere, and that's a solid, like, creative sativa strain that I always can go to.
Nice. I'll be. It feels weird. Like I didn't even start smoking until I was in my late 30s.
It's because I forced you into it. I was a bully.
Jim, I was going to say, how much of that has to do? Jim, were you an influence on that?
He is an influence.
Why had you not smoked, Jason, until you were 30, in your 30s?
I just didn't do drugs. I drank. I drank like a fish. But I just never put anything else. I was always scared of them.
Right.
All this be scared of drug stuff that you see when you're a kid, it all worked on me.
Oh my God. So what made you change your mind?
My wife was like, "You should chill out."
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she started kind of introducing me to stuff. And I'd only smoked, I think, once before I met Mahfood at Comic-Con, and then he shoved a Rice Krispie treat down my throat.
At a live art party, I was like, "Here, take this. Let's have fun." And you're like, "What? What am I eating?" And then like 2 hours later, I look over and Jason's just like smiling.
Okay.
He's making a huge painting. We're having a good time. Of course, we're still drinking whiskey and everything, but it's kind of like, hey, this other thing can also add to your creative juices, you know?
Totally. Well, that's good you didn't like send him into the green zone with too much edibles.
Right.
Dude, listen to Mahfood making it sound like he was like thoughtful. I walked in and this dude walks up to me that I had not met probably 2 days before. And he said, "As your attorney, I strongly recommend you eat this." And he shoved the Rice Krispie treat in my mouth.
This is true.
And I ate it.
You went straight fear and loathing.
Oh, completely.
And then I wound up like doing live art in my suit with him.
Yes.
Awesome. That's good.
And then Jason and his wife got revenge on me. Like weeks later, they had me and my friend Carmen over to their house for dinner. And at the end of the dinner, they served us brownies and we ate brownies. And Jason was like, "Oh, by the way, those were magic brownies." And I was like,
"Oh,
fuck, dude." And Carmen and I had to go do an interview with someone that night. We were doing a podcast together called the Beat Bee Sessions.
Called the what sessions?
The Beat Bee Sessions. It was like a music podcast before I do my current Skull Funk Radio podcast. It was a music show, and some local LA journalist was meeting us at my apartment to interview us about it. So we showed up and we were so fucked up. It was hilarious. It was. Did
it go well? Was it a fun ride? It
was fine. I mean, it was in the spirit of like what we do anyway, but we had to let the guy know, like, we accidentally ate edible weed like an hour ago. And he's like, "That's fine. You still want to talk?" We're like, "Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it." But
that's awesome. And it
Jason got his revenge. He got his revenge.
That's a nice move. The dessert move.
Yeah.
Dessert move.
So Jason, you've got a little boy, huh?
I do. It accompanies the little girl, so we have a finished set now.
So you have 2 kids?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought the boy was your third for some reason.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I don't know how you can do that. I have 2, and I could not imagine having 3.
There's this little bit that Jim Gaffigan says is like, because he has 5 kids, and he's like, after two, when you hear someone say they have a third, then you start looking at them like, what's wrong?
That's true. Yeah, that's a lot.
2's enough.
So how old is your boy now?
He just hit 8 months.
Wow. God, it's been 8 months? What the hell?
Dude.
Wow.
Dude,
wow.
Yeah. Dude, it's 8 months and we live in a new place now. Like, we had to move right when the pandemic hit.
Oh, shit. What was that like?
It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
We are literally on our last 2 rooms of unpacking. Like, and we've been there since April.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because nobody can travel, so it's not like we can have
Right.
other people come and help out and blah blah blah. So,
And yeah,
such is life. How old are your girls? Girls?
I have a girl and a boy, just like you. My
How old are they?
my daughter's gonna turn 18 next week, and my son is he just started high school. He'll be 15 in January.
All right, so you have some kind of, you got to deal with the online schooling as well, but you can trust your kid probably a little more.
It's kind of a mixed bag, I guess. On one hand, like my son, like he just handles his shit. Like I honestly, he surprised the hell out of me as he grew up, because I thought he would be like, he'd need a lot of like hand holding and guidance, but he just handles his shit. Whereas my daughter's needs more help and guidance and things. But so the homeschooling for my daughter as she was finishing high school was fine. And with my son, it was fine. But now my daughter just started college at home on the computer. And that's been a bit tricky.
Really?
Yeah, because she, it's like in college, as she put it, she didn't expect this. They treat you like an adult. It's all up to you to just, they're not going to hold your hand. They're not going to remind you. You got to take care of your shit. So she's not used to that. And they just kind of throw you in. But like she's got this math class, and there's a lab which you have to link to and pay for, but it's not working for her. And I've tried to help her, and she's been like emailing with her professor, and we're 2 weeks in, and this thing just doesn't work for her. And she like did a Zoom with him today, and he had no idea what was going on. So it's like problems like that when you're just starting college are like, that's a lot to emotionally work through, I think.
That's a pain in the ass.
Some adult shit she's already having to deal with there.
Right. But you know what? She's learning from it, and she is kind of rising to the occasion in a big way and pushing herself. So there's lessons in there which are good.
Oh, yeah. Everything can be turned into learning.
Exactly. So life with an 8-month-old during a pandemic, how is that?
It's a pain in the ass because he doesn't seem to want to let his mom put him down, but he's growing cooler and cooler. Honestly, the pandemic part, the hardest thing is our 6-year-old. Like we have
she's probably going stir crazy, right?
Oh, dude, we have a 6-year-old that just started. This all kicked in at the last 2 months of kindergarten. Oh, okay. So and she's very social. So she has all these friends and everything. And so, we essentially, until we kind of did what the kids call bubbling, until we bubbled with another family about a month ago.
What is that?
Wait, that's a thing? What is that?
What does that mean?
It's another family like that you trust, and that everybody has been taking this shit seriously. And everybody gets tested, and if everybody's positive and everybody's cool, then that's a house that you trust, and you can go and actually be normal.
As long as they don't see other people too?
Right. Like it's literally you've agreed to see each other, and if anybody lets anybody else in, they got to talk about it and all that stuff.
It's like a relationship.
Oh, it very much is. And then that's amazing. Because when we finally did it, like, my little girl had not played with a friend for 5 months.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Can you imagine being 6 and not being allowed to play with friends?
No. I mean, luckily my kids had each other, and they're like best friends. So they had that. But,
and honestly, like, not to be whatever, but like, it's lucky that they're older.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm asking you. I mean,
it's hard to explain. My wife and I counted.
Yeah, my wife and I every night were like, thank God we don't have little ones.
It's interesting.
So
I wonder what this generation will be like as they get older.
Yeah, me too.
Like this is something they all have in common, like the Great War or the something. They're like, you remember when your childhood was taken from you?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that's
True.
That's
very
crazy.
true. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Well, my daughter lost her prom, and
Oh God, jeez.
yeah, and she lost her high school graduation, but then they had one in late July. So we did that. So at least she got. It was I mean, it was very safe the way they did it, and
Yeah.
it was cool. But I mean, you know, it was a definite weird kind of way to graduate. Everyone's sitting, like all the chairs of the students are all far apart, and they're all in
Jesus.
masks. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But I was glad they did it. I was glad she got that. But yeah, she lost a lot, and my son started high school in this, so he's going through that right now. So tell me, what? Go ahead, Jim.
He's actually at the school, right?
Yeah, he's at school, whereas my daughter's not. Yeah.
Oh, he's physically at school?
He's physically at school. They give you a.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shawn. I thought you loved your children. No.
Yo, Shawn lives in Atlanta, dude. Atlanta's just like they can just do whatever the fuck they want. It's
a different world here. It was really scary for a little while here. Really scary. Because there's just so many people here who think it's fake.
Wow.
I mean, it's like I would go get some like carry out, like pick up some food at this like outdoor like shopping center with restaurants and stores. Of course, everything was closed except the restaurants, but it was a big outdoor area. And I was the only person in a mask. And that was probably in May, right after. No, it was in June. We were the first state to open. And I remember when the governor announced that, it was like a Tuesday. He said, we're opening Friday. Now, my wife works in like the spa industry. Luckily, her boss didn't open immediately, but in order to open up your spa, your hair salon, or whatever, they were telling you to open, but they didn't send the guidelines. They opened on Friday. They sent the guidelines around Saturday. It was just crazy. And so the night he announced it, there's a guy in my neighborhood who's total Trumpy. He put on a fireworks show. And I'm not talking. I'm dead serious. I have it filmed on my phone.
You sent me that footage, dude, and I lost my mind. I mean, it was like
it's not like little fireworks. It's not like firecrackers. I mean, these are legit 4th of July fireworks that he was lighting up the whole neighborhood, and it was the scariest thing that he was celebrating this like that. It was crazy, man.
Jesus.
Super weird. Super fucking weird.
They live in this bubble that doesn't promote reality.
It does not. It doesn't accept science or fact either.
And you anybody that was, I've luckily I haven't been harassed for like anybody who believes I shouldn't be wearing a mask.
Oh.
But I always figured if I did, like I see all these videos of people arguing. I was like, I would just tell them I'm sick.
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah,
you know, like, why are you wearing a mask? I'm like, I'm sick. Get away from me. And then we'll see how much they believe in it then.
Right, that's true. I almost got into a fight with a dude. We got into it pretty good.
Oh, yeah, you're was that Middle Eastern restaurant or where?
No, it was just Chipotle.
Chipotle.
I just went to get some carry out for the family. And I almost got into a brawl with this dude. He wouldn't have taken it there. He was scared. He was kind of running off at the end, but dude was an asshole.
It's crazy.
Jason, what's up with Philadelphia? You're on the new arc of that?
Ooh, it starts Wednesday. It starts tomorrow.
Oh shit. Okay. So that's issue
7 comes out tomorrow.
Oh shit. Okay. Nice.
So Philadelphia is ongoing, Jason? It's not just a mini?
ongoing.
Awesome. Is
Um,
that the only book you're doing right now?
no.
What? Yeah. What else are you doing now? How are you doing this? Why?
Actually, we have Rodney, the co-creator and the writer of Philadelphia. He and I have four projects under Image that are all greenlit under Image that we're moving forward on different levels.
And you're drawing all of them?
I'm drawing 2 of them.
Oh my God.
And then we have this guy. We have Patrick Reynolds drawing 1 of them. It's been it's been a cross between like a lot of Hollywood stuff and a lot of comic stuff. But I kind of give myself, another maybe year of this level of grind, and then then it's time for like a page. Like for me, my relaxing idea is what most people do on a regular work schedule of like a page a day.
Right.
How are you doing this with young children and quarantine and all that?
It would have never happened unless I went digital.
Really? Yeah, I think.
I mean, I feel I had like my entire materials box, in one tablet, and
Right.
I can literally go home, and when the babies are asleep, I can knock out a panel or
Right.
yeah. So it's just the convenience of being able to carry around your entire studio.
But do you work like just the time it takes to pencil and ink a panel? Is it faster for you digitally?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Freedom. There's no fear of erasing. There's no fear of it going wrong and having to redo anything. You can adjust it. You can tweak it. If you make something too big, you can shrink it instead of erase it.
Right. Right.
Like it's mostly the penciling process. Like that's why a lot of guys switch to digital pencils, because it takes so much of the erasing and the guesswork out of it, because you can just go and go and go, and whatever's wrong you can fix.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys will then bring it back in and then traditionally ink.
Right. Right. I did that for my Batman arc. I did pencils on the computer.
Nice. I'm just growing to like. It's so funny where people think in absolutes. They're like, oh, so no more pen and ink, no more Jason. I'm like, who? What? So,
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
I'm literally just exploring, and then, like I was definitely a purist for a little bit, but now I'm really just having fun drawing comics with a whole new tool. I've drawn, we're of a certain age. Like I've drawn comics for 23 years the same way, so it's kind of fun to explore a new tool.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I'll never leave paper. That's insane. But
I did one mini series, all digital. So to get to know how digital worked, like that was the goal. And then after that, I slowly started letting traditional creep back in the process more and more, to the point where I don't use a computer hardly at all now.
nice.
It's whatever gets the job done for you as an individual.
Yeah, I missed all the tactile stuff and the computer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? The computer offered me too many options. That was my.
Oh, yeah. I had to get over a lot of that shit. I had to just start really. Now I just work fast, and so if I work fast, then I don't get to screw around too much. But yeah, it helps me get that particular job done, and then I get to paint a cover, and then I get to ink a certain thing. But inevitably, I think in the next 2 years, I want to be able to slow down enough to get back to. I actually like the idea of both. It's made me more of a fan of Dave McKeon, of constantly like going back and forth between working traditionally, scanning it in, playing with stuff, then printing that out. I like that.
Yeah, I could see.
I just want to play. I just want to, like, I've been doing art for whatever reason. I've been doing it one way. So
Right.
I kind of want to, I'm 44. I want to start playing.
I like how you put that. That makes total sense.
There's no rules. It's just
The only rules are these weird self-imposed ones I put on myself.
Right, we all do. Except maybe Jim. I don't think you have any rules, Jim.
I got to be free, man. I can't be tied down, man.
Jason,
I would still pay handsomely to see what Mahfood would produce on a tablet.
yeah, I wonder what,
Yeah, you know,
Like-
man, the couple times I've tried to draw digitally with the digital, you know, Cintiq drawing tool, pencil, whatever you call it, it's like, it looks like my style, but it still doesn't have the
There's a depth that's lost.
unpredictable ink line that I'm getting with, you know, these parallel lines
Right.
give the work a specific look.
right.
And so it looks like my stuff, but it doesn't quite have the punch or the character for some reason.
100%.
So that was my only thing. I mean, dude, I've been looking at your work for a long, long time. We're good friends, and I've worked with you in person, collaborated with you, and your conversion to digital, it's like you didn't lose what you were already doing. So, I mean, you and Mike Huddleston to me are like the prime examples of the shit looks like their style if they're working analog or digital. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And I envy that ability to adapt that way.
Oh no, and one, thank you, and two, like that was because maybe that was I don't know about Mike, but that was my primary focus. Like I was like I'm such a texture guy and a painterly kind of person. I was like my goal wasn't necessarily to learn digital; it was to make sure I didn't lose my traditional look. So I went at it with that mentality. I can see a certain level of depth that doesn't exist in the digital versus traditional, but then I had to quit trying. Basically, about an issue or so ago, I quit trying to fully mimic my traditional look and start really exploring and having fun with the digital side.
Oh, that's
You know, it was like somebody gave me a Ferrari, but I refused to go over 30 miles an hour with it. And I was like, wait,
right.
you mean I can go anywhere with this?
right. You can time travel with it, man. So do you notice a difference in the printed work, Jason, from like comics that were all traditional versus the ones that are digital now?
Yes. Oh, not in the printed work. I can just see a difference. Like if you can tell someone's inking maybe with a parallel pen,
Right.
except for maybe Dan Panosian. It looks like he's inking with a parallel pen, but he's not.
Right.
And I can tell, like, you know, there's certain applications that have certain textures. And so, like, it is funny. I would get kind of turned off when I would see this certain cross-hatching, this texture. I forget what the app is that has it. Clip Studio or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And every time I see that cross-hatching, I'm just like, okay, I don't want to be a prick, but just cross-hatch.
Right.
But it's a cool texture, and they make it work. But the problem is then you see several artists that have the exact same cross-hatching technique.
Right. I agree. Early on, like, I was so anti-digital, and that was one of my big things, was everyone's work is starting to look the same. I mean, this is probably 15 years ago when Marvel, it just looked like every, like, one of their artists was just tracing 3D models of human beings.
Yeah.
And it was just so, ugh.
Yes, that was a big turnoff. I was like, is that what I'll become? And then you just like, well, no, I don't want to become that. I think luckily we have the benefit of looking at it and being cognizant of it.
Right.
So we can not do it.
Right.
Definitely.
Jim, do you even have a Cintiq?
No.
No, Jim's got a rotary phone.
Yeah, I have a rotary phone with an answering machine and a tape cassette in it.
Are we zooming through your beeper?
And I have a first generation iMac with like the blue shell.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Into it. Remember that?
Yes.
Shit.
And then they came out with the flavors.
Oh my God.
Oh, right.
I had the tangerine.
I was, see, this is the weird things we put on ourselves on our perspective. I was anti-Mac. For what reason? I don't know. I was anti-Mac until the first Mac I ever bought was the iMac, the one, yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I was, I don't know
You
what's
don't know
wrong.
why you were anti-Mac? You just were?
I came up with hackers and all these guys, and so they all had PCs, and so
Yeah.
they were all like, "Oh, Macintosh, that's just a candy computer," and blah blah blah.
Oh,
That's funny.
And yeah,
I love the
it
Mac.
was Kent Williams finally made me get over that shit and buy a Mac.
Oh, good.
Well, you know, Mac just took over in such a major way, especially with artists, with visual people.
yeah.
You know,
It's good that they grabbed that niche and like, all right, cool. If you're going to do music and movies, we're the ones you want. If you want to do spreadsheets, then go to those guys.
Right, exactly. Jason, can you tell me a little bit of like what your experience was, the years you spent sharing? Was it you shared a studio with Ken? Is that what it was?
Yeah, in North Carolina.
Oh, you were in North Carolina. Okay. So tell me what that was like for you. Because you were a big fan of his, correct?
Yeah, it was. I had moved there on the George Pratt kind of talked me into how cool North Carolina was, because he and Scott Hampton and Tommy Lee Edwards and all those guys were there.
Right.
So I was like, well, shit, I'll go hang out with you guys instead of going to art school. And that's what I did.
Awesome. That's awesome. Dude, that is so much better than art school. Wow.
oh yeah,
But-
that's amazing.
And then like inevitably like personal stuff in Kent's life when it made it where he was separating from his wife, and we met at a time when he kind of, we were both kind of licking wounds and all of that. And I was just buying an art book from him, and we just kind of got on. And then over like the next few months, we wound up just becoming friends, and then inevitably getting a studio together. And it was a dream. It was a hard balance because I always wanted to be like, fanboy, mentor, mentee kind of a thing.
Right.
But I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be like, no, he's going to see me as a contemporary.
Right.
Even though I was new and I sucked ass. And, but so inevitably we wound up, splitting rent, sharing a studio, and I just kind of sponged off of him and learned stuff. And then I wound up, assisting him on, like, there was a few books he was inking at the time. He was really inking a few like Marvel and DC things. And like a good little portion of those was me.
He was inking other artists or just inking himself?
Other artists. He did this book
Really?
called Fight for Tomorrow with Dennis Cowan.
Oh,
like that.
okay. I remember that. Yeah.
And then I think he did some X book where he inked over Sean Phillips.
That sounds familiar too.
And then, but inevitably he was like, I'll take these on if you want to. Like, that's why it took so long for me to kind of get Kent's style out of my own.
Because
I could ape the shit out of him.
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. So you learned to mimic him as like a job thing. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I was kind of like learning how he inks, learning a lot of stuff with him, and still kind of, and he was split the page rate with me. And so I'm like, well, shit.
Wow. So that was you probably learned a ton just being able to ask him, like, why do you do this? How do you do that?
Oh yeah. Because I would be painting in the studio too. And he would see, and I would always try to really balance it, because I'm like, I didn't want to breach that threshold of like student. But inevitably, like, I would just watch him and just ask questions and be casual about it. And we shared a studio for a couple of years. And yeah, it just kind of feels like, that was my art school. And then inevitably we started directing commercials and short films. And then we moved out to LA together.
You directed commercials with him?
We did this Converse commercial together that was for the advertising company to pitch the commercial style of like independent. This was like 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
So inevitably, we did a test commercial for them of this new style they wanted to do Converse commercials in, and they bought it, and it wound up being like shown in Europe at the MTV Music Awards and all this other stuff. But then when it came time to bring it here, they were like, "Nah, we've seen it enough." So it never aired here, but I star in a Converse commercial.
Oh,
Wow.
that's awesome. Is it on YouTube? Do you know?
I don't know.
Jason, when you were with Kent in North Carolina, had you already started doing the first Empty Zone comic book series at that time?
Yes, by the time I moved to North Carolina, I'd already done two full arcs of Empty Zone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
His influence can be seen on the third arc that only lasted 2 issues.
Okay.
But that's when I really started jumping into that style and painting, and that's also when I started getting paying gigs at like Queen and Country and stuff like that. That was.
Now, the Empty Zone was your create-your-own book?
Yeah.
And were you self-publishing that one?
We started self-publishing it. Then a small company called Sirius Entertainment published it, and then I got the rights back and brought it to Image.
And did you write those?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I miss writing.
I've got some of those, man. I've found some of those in a
Oh, no.
50-cent bin last year, and like sent Jason text message photos of them. Like, hey, look what I found while I was digging this weekend, man. Little baby Jason, little baby Shawn Alexander.
Oh my God. I wanted to do like one of those omnibuses of all the early Empty Zone stuff.
You definitely should. It's cool to see where everyone starts at, even though if we personally don't like our early stuff, but it is kind of a cool like archive history to see where everyone begins, you know?
Yeah, I agree. So, Jason, is there a lot of stylistic shifts through the arcs of Empty Zone? Where you just see yourself honing what you're already doing?
Empty Zone was, it was very much like a kid, like a child actor. Like it was just me growing up and figuring shit out.
Okay.
That's why I've only just recently gone back and looked at the work and been like, oh, well, it was good for the time. But before that, I would still define myself, I guess, by my old work. And I'm like, nobody should see this.
Right.
But now I can see it as growth. I like what I do now. And now I'm like, oh, we should publish this.
Right.
Yeah, man. There's enough time that passes that you sort of quit hating your old stuff because it was so long ago.
Right.
That you see how good you are now and you look back and be like, well, hey, man, this is just a valiant effort from like a 21-year-old hungry kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't shit on it. It's like you were doing your thing. You were trying your hardest.
Yeah.
And,
get confident in what you're doing. Go ahead.
I've come to grips with some of the earlier work that was published of mine, because when you get published in your early 20s, it's like you're doing all your growing in public.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, of course, that's going to be weird and awkward, you know? So anybody who talks shit, it's like, step off, man. This was just me as a kid figuring things out, you know?
Right. And honestly, who's talking shit? It's you in your head talking shit to yourself usually.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, let's we haven't really talked about what we're doing here. So it's another ink jam, and we're inking Mignola again because why not? It's awesome. And I'm inking this Mumra from Thundercats. And I'm using my typical stuff, my Raphael and my ink, and that's about it. Jim, what about you? What are you inking over there?
I have a Man Bat going right now.
Is that your third one you're on already?
It's my second, and I have this Dead Man.
God. I was making a joke, but no, you're on your second, of course.
And added background, added bat wings.
That came out dope. And
It was just fun, man. It's just fun.
yeah, it is. Are you using the parallel pens?
Yeah, I have that, and then like a Micron number 5. A little detail.
Okay, cool. And I have something I want to talk about. But first, Jason, you're inking Radio Space. Is that what it's called? Radio Spaceman?
We'll say that, yeah.
It was something. I saw him because there was that one, and then there was one of that guy with his name under it. And then there was one with he was on a giant lizard, and I really wanted to ink that one, but that would have taken too long for the show. So, what are you inking with, Jason?
A parallel pen and this guy. Where is it? There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I it's got two, the wide and the thin tips, but the ink is great, the tips are great. It works over whiteout. Good stuff.
Huh.
Jason, I always like to talk tools and material with you. Have you discovered anything new since we last hung out, I guess, in New York?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mahfood and I always have like art supply porn conversations when we first meet up.
Bring it on. I love this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So nothing new? You've been doing digital, yeah. Jim, what about you? Anything new?
I'm looking around. Not really. I mean, since I haven't been getting out this year, I just kind of, been using my go-to supplies.
Yeah, all the new stuff for me has been paint related.
Yeah. Well, you've elevated your paint game this year to like a whole other level.
Thank you. Yeah, I just
I have a supply question.
Yes.
So the Copic markers are quite popular and they took off strong, but I see these posts of people saying that those markers are not archivable and everything that you've done on them is going to turn black at some point. Is that true?
Oh,
Does anybody
shit.
know?
Is that...
I know the reason I never
they're alcohol markers. They're never going to last.
Right. So I mean that's why I used them for like class demos when I was teaching, but I would never do art with them for that very reason because they're alcohol-based markers and they're just going to.
That's what I wonder about all these guys getting, Copic marker commissions, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. But also,
wow, I didn't even
felt like
think
markers.
about that.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't use them. But I also feel like markers are like Copics. They're such an easy way to use color. I wanted to like force myself to use paint to learn how to use it better because the Copics just blend so effortlessly and easily, and they're quick, and there's no setup, there's no cleanup. So, yeah. So what were you saying? They turn black?
Yeah, they said they're either gonna. Yeah, I think the person I was reading on Twitter or whatever said they will turn black, and I'm like, so I just know I see a lot of commissions that get posted of Copics. I'm like, oh no.
I don't know how,
but nobody's really stopped using them, so I'm like, well, maybe it was fake.
Yeah, I mean, I have Copic drawings that are probably 10 years old now, and they're still okay. They're just a little faded.
Oh, yeah, then never mind that.
I don't know how they would turn black, though. That would be, imagine that. Everyone's, like, all these expensive-ass commissions people got with Copics, and they're all black.
Yeah. But, I mean, if 10 years is already a good thing, I'm like, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I think they'll fade. And the thing is, that in terms of alcohol-based markers, they don't fade nearly as bad as, like, most of them. But, yeah, I think that's the only danger is them fading.
Well, I know that, Sharpie marker, like black Sharpie marker, that shit does turn to like a purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. After many years, it was cool because like at the beginning of my career, Bob Schreck corrected me on, I started turning in pages of one of my early Oni books. It might've been Girl Scouts, and I was filling in the blacks with Sharpie just because it was so quick and I was late. And Shrek called me up and he's like, don't tell me you're going to fill in your blacks with Sharpie marker, dude. He's like, this is all going to turn to shit in like 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, buy the proper ink, use the brush, take the time.
Yeah.
Don't use Sharpies on your comic pages.
God bless Bob.
Yes.
But I still see it all the time. I see Sharpies everywhere being used to fill in blacks.
People don't know. They don't learn. And when you're a struggling art student or something like that, you gotta give what you get.
You're gonna regret it though, man. I mean, that's
when I was a teacher, I wouldn't allow it. I was like, nope.
Oh, nice, good.
But then they'd point out all these professionals that were doing. I'm like, yeah, well, they're not teaching you, so.
Yeah,
it's your class, it's your rules, right? It's,
right. But it was also, I had a reason. I wasn't just being a dick. It was like, look, this shit's not going to last. And it's good to think about that secondary market and the archival quality of your work.
yes.
Most definitely. Sorry.
Dude, that was like a jungle of fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Felt like I was in Africa for a second there.
Well, all my Mac stuff, all my Apple stuff is connected. Right. So when my phone rings, it rings on my iMac.
Yeah, me too, Jim. I'm gonna cue you in on a little something that took me a long time to learn, and in fact, I just did it like 10 minutes ago. Turn on the do not disturb on your computer, and you won't get all that shit going on.
Oh, okay.
It's up to you. I mean, it's
no, that's a good tip because it doesn't need to ring on my computer. Like that's that's overkill, man. You know?
Do you ever have it where you answer it on the phone and it's still ringing on the computer?
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Very weird. So
I wanted to talk about like inking Mignola, like why we enjoy it, and like for me, when I'm looking for a piece to ink, the challenging part is some of his drawings. If you just ink it as is, black and white, it's just going to look like Mignola did it. And I'm always looking for pieces that I can impart a bit of myself into, because while there are these abstract, simple forms, there's a real knowledge of like a volume of what he's drawing. So I like to find areas where I can explore the volume in the darks. And so when I'm looking for it, that's the key for me. What about you guys?
Jason?
I think one, I agree with you. I think if you just pull out a small pen and you're going to ink Mignola, like, not that there's not a certain level of drawing and changes and stuff he does in the ink that makes it special. Right. But yeah, it's simple. It's line and it's black, and the form is so solid already, and it's so good. It basically says like, "Hey, come and play."
Right.
There's nothing you can fuck up from here.
Right. It's exactly right. Yeah. So that's actually a better way of putting it. I'm looking for ones that will allow me to play more than the other ones.
Yeah.
Because there was a few I really liked, but they would have taken like 10 minutes, and I wouldn't have been able to like play with it much.
Like, I enjoy his rendering on some of those pieces, but those are the ones I skipped past because I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to. I render, so I don't want to fight your rendering.
Right, yeah. Like the ones where it looks like he's making like a stone carving out of his like hatchwork.
Yeah.
Yes, I avoided that too. I might get into some of that in the bottom portion of this. I think it was that Bushima thing. Jim, remember the Bushima one? I remember the coral. I did like some Mignola like hatchwork with the brush on that coral.
Yes.
So what do you look for in a Mignola piece there, Jim?
For me, it's like the character and the pose and the positioning of the blacks, and just me reacting in a gut way of like, well, that just looks like fun. Like I want to put ink on top of that. And I love, obviously the he mostly does darker gothic kind of stuff. But yeah, anything in that wheelhouse of like the darker characters, Dead Man or Batman or anything bat, skull, skeleton related, I just think is fun. And that subject matter lends itself to a shakier, rougher, sketchier rendering, which is what I do. So I'm not really looking to ink a super clean, super smooth, like svelte superhero drawing by Mignola. I want something that, you know, can be, I can add like my little flourishes and weird stuff to it, you know.
Of course, yeah. And that's a good point you brought up too, is the character. That's definitely a big part of it for me, is not just the character that I have some love for, but Mignola has such a unique voice. To see him take on so many different characters, I want to pick something that is a character I like and that he drew it really cool.
Yeah. And he just makes most things look so damn fun to draw. You know?
He's so stylized, yes. Like Frankenberry and all that stuff are the things that started cracking.
I almost did that one because those cereals were my jam when I was a kid.
Yes.
And then I really wanted to do HR Puffin stuff, but that was the problem with that was exactly what Jason said. It was too much Mignola rendering.
Oh, on the Puffin stuff one?
Yeah. I have so much love for Puffin stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was my first experience of like true psychedelia.
Oh yeah, man, those guys were.
Dude, that show was crazy with the fucking talking mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were all smoking cigars too, the mushrooms.
It's wow. Children's programming in the 70s is like,
dude, the Kroft brothers were crazy.
Something completely different, you know.
That was great stuff. I bought the DVD set for my children when they were little because I wanted them to see.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
I mean, I'm telling you, I have a lot of love for that stuff. I bought them Sigmund the Sea Monster, HR Puffin stuff, and Land of the Lost. I feel like there's one, like the most obvious one I'm missing.
The Lidsville, the one with the hats.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
The hat characters.
I bought mine Pee-wee's Playhouse.
There you go.
That's awesome.
And that stuff 100% holds up. Like, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would
It's,
like
have you, Jason, have you seen the documentary about Wayne White? Beauty is Embarrassing.
No.
He's one of the main set designers of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh wow!
Oh,
so it's a documentary about his life and all his art, and then he became famous a couple years ago by doing those. You see them all over LA, man. He does those paintings where he gets a landscape painting from like a thrift store, and then he paints.
Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah, that's Wayne White.
Yes, I know that work.
Yeah, he's a genius, man. Cardboard sculpture, puppetry, drawings. But one of his big gigs was he started off as one of the main guys on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
That's amazing.
So definitely worth checking out that documentary.
Jim, I got to ask you, please don't ever have children because your brain is in such good shape. Children have not eaten away at it. You have such a bank of like great art knowledge that I remember having before I had children.
Do you think it goes away? It's like you don't have enough room? Because I feel like
yes.
Listen, man, I feel like I am starting to run out of room though in my brain for.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
For just things like being in my mid-40s, like learning, meeting new people, or like getting like new numbers in my phone and stuff. It's like there's times where I don't think I can put any more inside of my head.
Well, we have more to learn than any generation. Like, well, now the generation, our kids, but like, we can't learn all this stuff. Like, our parents and grandparents and all these people we respect. I'm like, well, they didn't have 50 extra years of learning that we have.
Right.
There's only so much we're going to be able to like hold in our actual brains.
That's true.
It's
That's why
amazing.
anybody that rags on like kids, you know, younger people for not having seen a classic movie, I'm like, are you kidding?
Right.
There's generations of movies now. There's not like
That's a good point.
you know, there's not just the 70s and 80s anymore, asshole.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's it's crazy too, because I think about like my mom and dad both were born and raised in St. Louis, lived there their whole lives, so they know a certain amount of people. They're not online. They don't email with people. They don't know people in other countries. They only know the people that they've known in St. Louis.
Right.
Compare that with me, their son, who, I don't mean this in a bragging way, but it's like I know people all over the world from doing art, from being online, from traveling. So just think of that in one generation, the amount of like the Rolodex inside my head compared to theirs of just humans, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's like you said, Shawn, then you throw in all this like pointless pop culture knowledge.
I didn't say pointless. You said pointless.
No, I'm saying like art, comics, movies, music, like all this shit that takes up space in my brain. That's like, it's important to me. It means something to me, but the average person is probably like, dude, how do you know about all this shit?
I love it, man. You always remind me of shit, like shit I love. And I love when you go off and talk about all this comics, like when you talk about, and when we podcasted with Jim Rugg, you did it again.
Okay.
We're just talking.
As long as it's not annoying, then it's all good.
No, dude, I fucking love it. I mean, it makes me feel like I wish I had that still.
But I mean, this is the good thing about the Zoom stuff during quarantine is it's like I have to be able to hang out with fellow artists like you guys and talk shop and talk about tools and inking and stuff, because I'm not getting it in person.
Right.
And there's no conventions, there's no convention dinners where we can talk about this shit. So it's like, how else am I going to talk about drawing supplies with Jason? You know, this is as good as we're going to get for now. So,
right. Yeah, we're not going to be at Empanada Mama's anytime soon.
No. I feel like I have still most of my art knowledge since kids. What I've lost, which kind of depressed me on a whole other level, is any ability to play video games.
Oh, yeah. I cannot play. My kids kill me in that shit now.
She's literally playing these other, like Kirby and other things and Lego City, and these are simple kid games. And I'm driving into walls. I'm like, wait a second, I should know how to do this. And everything changed when I literally, a few days ago, I handed her the controller. I'm like, can you get me this?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I get it, man. I
didn't realize that was a skill that left you.
Yeah, I didn't either until we got Mario Kart. My son's doing laps around me, throwing shit at me. I'm getting frustrated. But when they were younger, I would like smoke them. Yeah. I'm like, how do you know how to fucking drift? How do you do that? And they're explaining it to me, and I still can't do it.
It's when they start explaining it to me, like when she starts it, I'm like, never mind, don't. No, I can't do it. My ego won't let me do it again.
Yeah, my pride didn't give a fuck. It was all ego. Like, I gotta get better. I'm gonna beat you.
I'm gonna beat you, child.
Right.
But, Jason, is your daughter conscious of the fact that you're a talented artist? Like, you're different than other dads?
I don't know if it's different than other dads because, I mean, honestly, at this point, she, now that she's been more of a cognizant child, she's had less experience around other dads because of the, pandemic, things like that. But no, I don't know what she thinks of other dads. It is funny to hear a 6-year-old saying that she likes my Spawn.
Right. I guess what I mean is like, can she kind of brag about you? Like, oh, your daddy's like a fireman. Well, my daddy is like the greatest artist, like.
I have competition though. Like, she's like, my mommy's an actor. Like Denora just did like
Oh, right.
this. She just started this Budweiser commercial. And so
Oh, no shit. Awesome.
yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
she has this ongoing appearance on this show that's going to start back in production, and so I have to compete with mom.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
The only my biggest advantage is that is at school they had a Valentine's thing, and I drew this Olaf for their class, and I was a rock star in her eyes because every day they had to pass the Olaf that her daddy drew.
Oh, that's cool.
so awesome.
Okay.
That's from Frozen, Jim, in case you don't.
Yeah, it's just.
What did you say?
That's from Frozen. That's a kid thing. I don't know if you know Olaf.
I didn't. I was just playing.
Okay, good. Because it didn't even occur to me that anyone would not know what Olaf was until Jason said that. I'm like, oh yeah, Jim's not gonna know what that is.
Jim may not know what Olaf is.
I have not seen Frozen. I'm sure, Jason, you've seen it 1,500 times.
So many.
Jim, I need to ask you, are you on your mic or is your microphone still coming through your iMac?
I'm on my external mic.
Okay, cool.
Is it okay?
Yeah. I was just, I'm always thinking about these things and checking them out. Like still getting a feel for all this Zooming business.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Speaking of mics, Jason,
yeah,
how did the virtual Comic-Con go that you threw? I know how it went for you, but I wanted to ask you for like the show, for like the viewers.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about this for sure.
That was awesome. It was something that I absolutely want to do again. It was great. There's this other app called StreamYard, and that's what we use that when they give you all the different where you can put the text on the screens and all the crazy.
Right.
Yes.
And so, and it was like my assistant Nicole, she was manning all of that, and so it was great. Like, yeah, the biggest thing to kind of overcome was me being weird and nervous.
Was this?
You did great, dude. You did. I watched most of the videos. I mean, you're great. It's just putting yourself out there. It's like the weird thing of like, well, here I am. I guess people want to watch me and hear what I have to say. So
I really just wanted to feel like I was at my table.
Right.
Because, we're not going to do any conventions this year. And I really had that, I kind of had the time allotted for San Diego anyway. So I'm like, and honestly, it was easily the most successful convention I've ever had. Like,
That's
other than
amazing.
shaking hands and signing stuff.
Financially, you're talking about?
Yeah, I opened up my commission specifically just for the thing. And, you open up your commissions to the world, not just to the 20 people that pass by your table.
Right.
And then the portfolio reviews that we did, for like a lot of those were from people in other countries.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So it was, and then getting to just literally interview friends. So, it felt very much like another version of At the Table. But yeah, as far as commissions, I'm still finishing those. But
awesome.
Financially and everything else, it was awesome, because then I was telling this to Mahfood, because we can make money at a show, but then we're like, cool, here's the $2,000 for the hotel. Here's this for the table.
Right.
Like, I just got to drive home. So
Right. You're like down the street, it's
yeah, there's probably $3,000 or $4,000 just in expenditures that I didn't have this time.
All right. Yeah, I find the like art collecting and art buying community has been super awesome during this COVID thing.
Yes.
They really
Yes.
have been
Crazy supportive.
But I think it goes along with something you were just saying too, Jason. They don't have to spend money to go to a convention, buy tickets, get a hotel, fly, and all that. So, then they pay for commissions on top of all that. So now they probably have some extra money because they don't have to spend it on all that stuff, and they're getting more commissions than normal, maybe.
Yeah.
There was a guy at this show in Hawaii that I did, and he explained it like that. He was like, you know, he was buying a lot of artwork, and I was like, wow, Hawaii is an amazing show. He's just like, look, we can either spend $1,200 to get to San Diego, or we can give it to you.
Right, right.
And I'm like, oh, that, you know, so
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, it was, you know, and I tried to make it, I didn't want to just take commissions and be done with it. I wanted to make it as interactive as a show could be.
Right.
So it was fun to, you know, talk and comment to people and have that kind of a thing. And much like any other show, as soon as Sunday was over, I was fucking spent.
Yeah.
I bet. Wow, that's awesome. So you're going to do it again, you think?
Yeah. I'll easily do it next year. I think just with work and everything, I'm not going to have time to do like a New York version, but yeah, next year.
Awesome.
I think I would like to kind of get together with other people that do it at the same time and the same whatever, and have a link list on my site that's called Artist Alley, and then just link to everybody else who's doing live conventions.
Dude, I'm down with that. Like, let me know. That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, we
think
should, like,
someone's
we could all
talking
share in this. People can literally visit all of our tables and panels and not miss anything.
Yep.
I think
They can just go back to YouTube.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was great. It definitely took a toll during fucking pandemic.
Yeah. We put out a lot of energy when we do that shit.
Ooh. Yeah.
Dude, that
Like we stay in here and be silent all day for the most part.
right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Hey, Jay, do you think working on Spawn gave you more of an international audience?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
That was the whole, I've never had a long-term plan in comics until I got older. And I was like, the idea of staying on somebody else's book for 2 years was a nightmare. But it was the right book. And I was like, you know what, this is what I've missed thus far in my career is a body of work that I can point to.
Yes.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just going to suck it up. And, you know, I was like, you know what, in 2 years, I'm going to have a great relationship with Todd, and I guarantee it's going to push my art. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm happy to be doing creator-owned stuff. It was definitely, yeah, that was one of the investments they don't really tell you about. Like, especially if you want to do creator-owned, if your goal in comics is to do more than just shuck out a page a day at a rate.
Right.
Like, you know, it's a weird thing to just agree to. You have to do that on some level to let the audience know you exist.
Yep.
Right.
And they came over to Philadelphia. You know, Philadelphia has been good, so
That's awesome.
it was worth it. They're awesome. Yeah, Spawn fans are also just like, not just to float that boat, but those fans were dope. Those guys were really good people.
I could see.
I think like Capullo and these other guys would get like death threats, but I really only got like a handful of guys that say, we want you to leave. That was about it.
Oh God. Yeah, that's so weird. That just, especially coming from a grown man, you know, it's like, dude, I'm just trying to make a living here, man. McFarlane likes my stuff. I'm just drawing a comic book, bro. You don't need to get that upset. Like,
I told one guy, I was like, you know, I didn't kidnap him, right? He asked me to draw the book this way. I have a time thing, and I'm basically finished unless I keep noodling on this thing.
Okay, so you got to get going, you're saying?
I got to get going.
Okay, cool. No worries.
let's see what you got, man. That looks dope. Yeah.
I'll get a scan of it today.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Yeah, please get me a high res of that. I'll put it at the end of the show. And
Cool.
Jim, what about you? Are you on your third one now?
Second one, man bat.
Whoa.
A very large bat behind him.
Oh, you added quite a bit to that one.
And Dead Man.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, they're just springboards for Mahfood.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll probably add some, color and zipatone and airbrushing to these. Maybe some glitter.
Some
Glitter
glitter.
and Mignola, and Mignola be like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah, I've got about 20 minutes or so left, so I'll finish it after I hit stop. But
Nice.
I'm on Mumra.
Dude.
Let's see, Sean. Let's see real quick.
What? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
That's
These are
awesome,
fun.
dude. Really fun design too on that one.
Yeah, these are great. All right, so Jason's got to go, so I'm going to hit stop. Jim, if you want to just hang and keep drawing with me, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'm going to hit stop, and then we'll say goodbye.
This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.